a work that was done in collaboration with the Vatican and actors in Rome. It's basically the X Factor with Vatican jury and different Roman actors that appeared and wanted to be cast as the perfect Jesus. It is a casting, but the casting is already the main event. It's not that there was like now a big production afterward.
Yeah.
But the process of finding the right Jesus. Of course, I was interested in iconography. I was interested in the discussion that would go on in the Vatican jury, how they would find the right Son of God, and if you look for beauty, maybe in the media of television, if you look for beauty, is maybe America's Next Top Model or something could be the frame for it or the format for it. But I think you have like Singer and other art things and other art topics that are discussed and where people are competing against each other. And it can maybe ask a question, what are values that can be transported also in this modern media of a casting show? Who's there to judge? And if it's now the jury or if it's an X Factor or some other experts, also interesting representation of themselves. And do you agree with what kind of decisions they make? It's called Review, and inside you find art review that is just about the piece itself. So Jörg Heiser, the chief editor of Fries magazine of Germany, in Germany, he wrote a critique basically, or he wrote a review about this piece, having a review inside of a bottle. This will be, before it gets in the hands of a collector, before somebody buys it, I will close this forever by dipping it in this red material that you use for official stamps. I don't know how you call it in English. But so in the moment this is closed, you basically destroy the sculpture as soon as you open it. So you will never know if this is a good or bad review about the piece. And I asked also the writer to make it in the handwriting, not on the typing machine, so there's no reference. He doesn't have it on the computer, so in a couple of years he might not exactly know what he was writing back then.
So will anybody ever read the piece?
Only if you destroy the piece.
Have you read it?
No.
Do you hope someone reads it, or do you hope it's kept?
I hope it's kept, but it also, it's a part of the sculpture. If it gets broken, it's also, then the sculpture changes. It will be not really the sculpture anymore, but it will be just a performance moment when somebody opens this bottle, reads the good critique, and in that moment understands that he has a piece of art in his hands that he just destroyed. Art in Crisis, and it was done in Germany a year ago, like next to Reichstag in the Academy of Arts. They asked me to put on a performance, somehow doing something about the crisis moment we have in the art world and financial world and so on. So, I thought just about all of the benefits auctions that I'm invited as an artist. Every month I get at least 2 questions from people to fundraise good purposes with my artworks. So I just thought, I should change it and just ask now other people that get money from taxpayers in Germany, which is, for example, the Bundestag or the German police or the Berlin city cleaners or the finance department. They live from, taxpayers' money. But I asked them to give me an object which they choose for a benefits auction that I put on. And I asked the director of the Association of all auctioneers to be in the Academy of Fine Arts in Berlin to auction off these objects. I got a whole bunch of objects. Many of them were not the most expensive and exclusive ones, but for example, here on show and on view I have a typewriter from the German Bundestag, which is a typewriter they made a few decades before they wrote the German laws, maybe on this typewriter. I have from the German fire department an old helmet that they don't use anymore. And I have a teddy bear which comes from the financial parts where in case you cannot pay your taxes on one moment, if you don't pay it for a couple of months, somebody will knock on your door and he will confiscate stuff. But all of these objects were then auctioned off, and in the moment they changed their status when they were bought, because in that moment when they bought, I bought down a certificate stating as a sculpture of Christian Jankowski, so of me. So of course the value changes. And I see it a little bit as the ping pong from Fries. I mean, this, imagining the review is of course making a dialogue also with Fries, since it's a Fries writer whose review is inside. In this point, I think it's a dialogue with a very expensive mega yacht or fancy boat I have standing over there at the Fries Art Fair. And since it's also related to some ready-made ideas involving also performative aspects on a formal level, it has a lot to do with the project I'm doing over there. But since over there I had a whole gallery stand, here I decided to put the sculptures on the ground because it's art in crisis. I don't know. I mean, it plays a little bit on both of the extremes also by the presentation of it here.